So I'll tell you a bit about my life now. So naturally, I asked, was I pretty? No. She said, you're smart. But she did explain that it was beneficial to be smart because beauty fades. And if I was smart, somebody would love me for my intelligence, and that would last. Okay. Now, there was an ideal which she clung to, as did many other American mothers. Shirley Temple was the ideal girl in the 40s. And she had, of course, curly hair and chubby cheeks. I did have that. And she was singing and dancing her way through our hearts. And she was blonde. So I wasn't blonde, I didn't have curls, and I didn't look at all like Shirley Temple. But this was the ideal in the 40s. So I got involved with an older German man. I was just a teenager. And he was tied to drug dealers and the mob. Of course, Mother didn't go for that too well. Maybe that's when I got the cleaver to my neck. So Daisy had him arrested for drug possession, and I was hauled into court along with him. And of course, this made me drop him like a hot potato. And I've been quoted as saying the following: all 4 of the mothers are parts of my mother, and all 4 of the daughters, this is in Joy Luck Club, are parts of me. And it's interesting because my SAT scores were actually much stronger in math, but I always liked to write, and I was always writing. Now, another phase of my life that was very difficult was that I contracted Lyme tick disease. And this is a blown up photo of the little guy. In actuality, a Lyme tick is no bigger than the period at the end of a sentence. 50% of people who have this don't even know they've had a tick bite. It could happen somewhere in your back, in your hair. They don't know, and it can go undiagnosed, as in my case, for 10 years. And it was 10 years of increasing misery. And one night, I was in bed, and this man was coming toward me in the dark. Slowly, naked man, coming closer and closer and closer. And then he just poof, disappeared. And I thought, oh, that must mean death. And I was terrified, really terrified, that my husband had died. So I ran around the house, every room, checking to see where he was. Finally, I saw him. He was calmly watching television. And I said, I'm just so glad you're alive. And this was probably the lowest moment. Of course, I couldn't drive. I couldn't write. I had memory loss. I would write 3 pages, and then I would forget what I wrote on page 1 and 2. It was very, very disabling, because I feel if you can do what you want to do, despite all the medications and some limitations, that you're healthy. So I continue to write. I play pool. I go to both coasts to manage my houses. I've performed with a rock band that benefited literary groups, yes. When I was a teenager, no one would ever ask me to dance because I wasn't the ideal. So I decided, okay, now that I'm an adult, I'm going to get a blonde wig and I'm going to let it rip. And if you want Amy Tan to visit your book club or your library, here's my address. Okay, that's the end. Thank you very much.